Okay, chapter 64. The Cernu Rite, ancient and accepted Scottish rite, founded in 1808. The following article is quoted in part from an article specifically written by Josiah H. Drummond, 33rd degree, in the History of Freemasonry and Concordant Orders by Stilson and Hugin. In 1806, Joseph Cernu appeared in New York. He had been a member of Masonic bodies in the West Indies. He had a patent from Matthew de Pertet certifying that he had received the degrees of the Scottish Rite of Heirdom and authorizing him to confer the degrees up to the 24th, and organize bodies in the northern part of Cuba, and to confer the 25th on one person in each year, the 25th being then the highest degree of the rite and the highest Cernu, had received, according to his patent. Cernu had his patent from Depotat, who had his from German Haquet, who had his from Duplessis, who had his from Provost in 1790, who had his from Franken. In 1808, he called a grand consistory of the Rite of Heirdom having a jurisdiction over 25 degrees. But already a controversy had arisen with the parties acting under or deriving their powers from the Supreme Council at Charleston. We may well believe that Cernu and his associates soon recognized the impossibility of maintaining successfully a rite of 25 degrees against one of the 33rd degrees. The 33rd degree, as now existing, originated at Charleston in 1801, and no evidence has been found that Cernu ever received it. Cernu seems, however, to have overlooked the obvious expedient of creating a 34th degree. The Charleston body did not recognize that Cernu bodies, even by silent acquiescence. After investigation by a special deputy is declared early in 1814 Cernu to be an impostor and his organizations illegal and clearly clandestine. Bitter controversies followed. Lodges, which soon died, were opened at Charleston. Others at New Orleans eked out a precarious existence under James Fullhouse. Fullhouse had received the 33rd degree from the Grand Orient of France, which expelled him February 4th, 1859, for a scurrilous publication which he issued in answer to one of its decrees. The Supreme Council became dormant, but in 1867 it was revived with Eugene Chassenac at its head. In 1868 it was recognized by the Grand Orient of France, and unless it has recently gone out of existence, the Grand Orient today recognizes a so-called Supreme Council in New Orleans as a lawful body, and its members as possessing the 33rd degree. In 1826, the Morgan murder occurred and Cernu left for France. DeWitt Clinton, governor of New York, had been deputy grand commander of the Sovereign Consistency from 1811 to 1823 when he was elected grand commander. A number of sporadic revivals of this rite occurred during the ensuing 40 years. They were known as the Hicks Rite, founded in 1832 by Clemente de Saint Laurent, the first Atwood body founded about 1837 by Henry C. Atwood, the Cross body, founded about 1851 by Jeremy L. Cross, the second Atwood body, founded about 1853. It was not till 1867 that peace was established between the three de facto Supreme Councils in the northern part of the United States. On that date, they united, and Josiah H. Drummond was elected Grand Commander. After 5 years of peace, however, Henry J. Seymour, who had been expelled by the council of which he was a member, organized what he called a Supreme Council, of which he was made Grand Commander. But on the visit to Europe in 1862, in his eagerness to obtain recognition, his unwittingly held Masonic communication with the Grand Orient of France, which created such a storm that he resigned his office, and since but little has been heard of that Supreme Council, although it probably still exists. In 1881, Hopkins Thompson, of Emeritus member of the Supreme Council, assisted by a few honorary members and by a sublime prince of the royal secret, who is believed by many to have been the mainspring of the movement, all of whom had taken the oath of fealty to the Supreme Council, formed an association which they are pleased to call the Surnu Supreme Council Revived. The body claims jurisdiction over the South, the claim to which was abandoned. Before 1866, by unanimous vote, including Thompson's, it denies the legality of the Southern Supreme Council, from which alone the 33rd degree came, and which Thompson, by his vote, recognized, and whose recognition and fraternal support he, with his associates, sought to obtain. The visit to Europe of Henry J. Seymour, referred to in the above quotation, had serious consequences. We find that Seymour at that time was in communication with John Yarker, with whom he collaborated in founding the ancient and primitive rite, the ramifications of which reach to all the branches of occult illuminism, such as Societas Rosicruciana in Angela, Memphis, and Mizraim, Ancient Order of Oriental Templars, etc. Chapter 65 will be Carbonarism. All right, let's see how you shut this off. Uh-oh, can't find it.